Can you hear me? So, finally time. I don't know, where do I start? Where do I start? First of all, thank you for being here. Thank you for coming to listen to me share about this story, the miscarriage. Um, Thank you for tuning to my live. Um, yeah, thank you. So, let me start. First of all, I want to say this happened end of January last year. So, at this point, I'm fine. Like, I'm great. I'm speaking from a healed place. I've worked through whatever I was feeling then. Um, so yeah, I'm in a good place. I'm in a great place. I appreciate all the sympathy and empathy and messages people have been sending me, but really, I'm great. Like, it's way past. This is not to belittle anybody who has gone through that recently or in the past and still feel something, feel some kind of way. But for me, it's not an issue anymore. Um, but I am just grateful for the way everything panned out. Like I said, I was in a relationship then. We were looking towards getting married, it was kind of serious. Not kind of serious, it was serious to both of us. He's a single parent, I'm a single parent. One thing we both agreed on was that we don't necessarily want more kids, but if it happens, sure. We were both indifferent. It was like based on our partner, if it happens, sure. So it was not something we were trying to, like, we were not trying. I was on contraceptives. I had been on contraceptives for like 3 months already. I was using it right, but I still got pregnant. And I think I actually even knew when it happened. And my cycle's pretty regular, so once I was late, I figured something was up. But it was weird because, like I said, I was on contraceptives or contraception, and so I didn't really think it. I thought maybe it's the contraception that's making me not have my period, but it wasn't. I took like 4 pregnancy tests and did one in the clinic or hospital as well, whatever, and they were all positive. So needless to say, I was pregnant. I had gained some weight already because of the contraceptives. My mood was off. I had lots of mood swings, and I had already said I was going to get off it by the time, you know, before I found out I was pregnant. I said I was going to get off it after December, and then it was in December that I found out I was pregnant. So I went off it anyways. Um, and when I went to the hospital, I was actually going because I was very sick, and I was given antibiotics. The doctor did say it was fine and that it won't affect anything with the pregnancy after she confirmed that I was pregnant. And so, yeah. Anyways, um, the relationship was a bit shaky. We had been having issues. Everything moved really fast, but we were serious and we had been having issues. I kind of felt like maybe it was because of the contraceptives, but they were actually like things that I was reacting more because I really am not someone that reacts a lot. No, no. But then I was reacting more, and but there were issues. And so when I found out I was pregnant, I prayed to God. I was like, God, if this is meant to be, because we were talking about marriage, building a future. So I prayed to God. I was like, God, if this is meant to be, then let everything work out. Let the pregnancy go to full term. Let all our issues be sorted through, worked through. But if it's not meant to be, then please remove it. I prayed that prayer to God. Like I needed a sign because of all the issues we had been having recently. I needed a sign. But when I was pregnant, even though I wasn't trying, even though I was actively taking contraceptives not to get pregnant, when you get pregnant, you have that feeling. You start feeling positive. You start getting a bit happy about it. My financial situation was not the best. His wasn't either. So we were not really in a good place to be having a child. But both of us have that can do attitude. We'll work through it, we'll do whatever we need to do to have this kid. So I prayed that prayer, in December after I found out. I found out late December. So by then I was already like a month or something gone. So I prayed that prayer. And not long after, like at the end of January, I miscarried. Like it started with bleeding, bleeding here and there. Spoke to the nurse or doctor, whatever they said shouldn't be an issue. I was scheduled to have my first, I've forgotten what they call them, prenatal appointment, not antenatal, prenatal appointment. Like a week after I miscarried, I was scheduled to have my first, no, a few days after, to a week after I miscarried, I was scheduled to have my first prenatal appointment. But then I miscarried, so I still did have the appointment, and but then at this point she was just checking to see that no, I didn't have. I was supposed to have the appointment in the same hospital, but anyways, I started bleeding gradually, but no pains, nothing. Then all of a sudden, like the end of January, I started having like cramps here and there. Then one day, I think it was on the 31st, um, yeah, of January, I was like having serious cramps. Then I started bleeding a lot. It happened late at night. So I was crying. I was serious pain. My mom, my son knew, everybody knew. They came in to console me. My son started crying. My mom was, I don't know if she was crying, but she was very emotional. So we called my partner then to come get me and take me to the ER, and he came, took me to the ER. We were there like all night. I can't remember what time we left there, but we left there like the next day, like 2 a.m. or something. I don't know, but we left pretty much, and I was like bleeding the whole time. Like it was really bad. So they gave me an appointment to see the gynecologist, or the, I don't know what they call them, the people, the it's gynae or obstetrician, I don't know. They gave me an appointment to see that person on Sunday. This was Friday night. We went into Saturday, so they gave me an appointment to see that person on Sunday morning. So Saturday I came back, and then my partner went back to his house. I was here, and then that day I was still bleeding, still having a lot of cramps. I was in so much pain. And then that day I went to the toilet and I had a tampon in at that point. And when I went there, I was bleeding like clots and everything. And then I pulled out the tampon. Sorry, trigger warning. This might be TMI for some people. It might be too much information. But I pulled out like the tampon and made that look like the baby pretty much. Like I was pretty sure that was whatever the bean size or strawberry size. I don't know. I was following Baby Center and they tell you what size it is. It was like it looked like the tissue of the baby. Like it was tissue. So I pretty much bled out the baby, bled out everything. So by the time we went to the appointment on Sunday, I told her what happened. She was like, she's pretty sure it's the miscarriage, but we're gonna monitor the the pregnancy hormone levels to see if everything's out, and if after like a couple of weeks everything is not, it's not reducing, then they're gonna do like an evacuation. They're gonna do to come go in and clear everything out. So we did that, and so we did that, and sorry, I got a message. This is not a laughing moment, but I got a message. So we did that, and we were monitoring it. I was going for blood test, blood test, blood test, and then eventually the thing kept dropping, and then everything went. So I didn't even have to go into the hospital for like an evacuation for them to do a DNC on abortion. I didn't have to go in. This happened at like 10 weeks or so. And so, yeah, I think it was about 10 weeks, 10 or 11 weeks before, just about to finish the first trimester, anyways, this happened. So we spoke to the doctor, and I asked her like what could have caused it. She was like, "Oh, nothing serious. It just happens sometimes." I did some research myself. They said that maybe like an extra chromosome or something that makes it happen. That it doesn't have anything to do with me or my partner or any of my lifestyle. And like so, me working out, me because then I had actually stopped going to the gym, but I was still working out at home, and I was doing Uber Eat deliveries. And my partner then didn't like that I was doing that. He felt like I should have just been resting at home, but I was like, I need to make money. I have bills to pay, and the bills have to be paid. And so it's pretty much miscarriage. And she did say that none of this, my working out, my doing Uber Eats deliveries could have affected it or made it happen. But for some reason, I was still being blamed because after she told me, after we met, I was like, oh, at least now I can go back to the gym, and I had actually stopped doing Uber Eat deliveries because I said, let me listen to people around me and just rest, even though it was hurting my pocket financially. So I said, but when she cleared and when I figured it was a miscarriage because I saw the tissue, I was like, okay, I can start. I just made a joke kind of to make myself feel better in that moment and said, okay, now I can go back to the gym. I can continue doing my Uber deliveries and doing everything. And because I said that, my partner felt like decided to accuse me of purposely miscarrying. I don't know how someone does that, but that was what he did. He accused me of purposely miscarrying. And I was like, that's very insensitive. I can't believe you would say something to me like that at this very vulnerable time in my life. It's like, yeah, but you seem happy and whatever. I'm like, I wasn't happy. I was just trying to cheer myself up. And I was just relieved to know what was going on. Sometimes just being in limbo is actually the worst thing. Knowing and confirming something, whether it's bad, even if it's bad, gives you a kind of relief. It just makes you feel like, okay, I know what's going on now. I'm not wondering, I'm not guessing. I hate being in that state where I'm wondering what's happening. Is it this? Is it that? So the fact that I was now sure what was happening, I felt sort of relief, but at the same time, I was sad because even though I didn't really want it and it wasn't something I was planning for, I had gotten used to the idea that it was happening. My son was happy because he's been asking me for a sibling for forever. My partner and I were already making plans of moving into a house together, stuff like that. And so meeting each other's family, I mean, he had met my mom, but like bringing his family to meet my mom, all the introductions and stuff like that. So it was kind of weird feeling, having clarity, being relieved, but at the same time feeling sad because you start feeling, I was hopeful. I was like, okay, this is nice. I'm gonna be a mom again. My son's finally gonna get a sibling. So it was very confusing for me. And at some point, like I remember going to do my Uber Eats deliveries, and I went into the store. I was in Costco, and I saw a woman pregnant, and I saw like I'll see another woman with a baby, and it just made me feel emotional. Like I almost felt like crying. Like, oh, that could have been me in a couple of months. I had already started making plans and stuff, and so it was sad in that moment. I did feel sad, and I also kind of felt, what's the word, inadequate. Like I couldn't do this. Like, why didn't my body let me do this? Even though my body has done it before. my son is about to be 9 in a couple of days, in 6 days. So it was weird for me to be feeling inadequate. I've done it before, but it was scary. And then after that, it was like, I don't think I want to ever go through this again. And I was like, okay, I probably don't want kids anymore. I don't want to be put in a situation where I feel this again. So I probably won't want to get pregnant anymore. But I'm still indifferent about that. I mean, if God wills it, then so be it. But in that moment, I didn't feel like I wanted to go through that again. So I was like, yeah, definitely not trying to be pregnant again. But I was just happy that I gained clarity with the whole situation. So even though it was very sad, very confusing, I was clear on what needed to be done based on the prayer I prayed to God. I took it as a sign from God that, okay, this relationship is not for me, this situation is not for me, this was not my destiny. Because I really didn't want to, because me and my partner had agreed that we both don't want to have another child outside of togetherness. Like, we want to be together out because we're not married, but we're planning on getting married. So we didn't want to be single parents again, second time around. So we both agreed on that. So when obviously I got pregnant, we had agreed that we're doing this together. But I was also scared because of all the issues we've been having that I will find myself in a place where I'm stuck with someone that really doesn't is not very considerate and thoughtful towards me. And that's why I prayed that prayer, because I really did not feel valued as much, and I did not feel like considered as much or thought about in that way. So that's why I prayed that prayer. So I kind of felt a relief in that way as well, that okay, God has saved me from a situation that could have been bad, because I would have felt stuck, honestly. I pride myself on being able to move on and leave and have new beginnings. I'm very good at new beginnings. I'm not afraid to start afresh, but I know for sure that I did not want to do this single parenting thing again. I would have felt a strong need to stay in that relationship, even if it was bad, even if it was killing me, because I wanted to do things differently with the second child. And that is why I pray that prayer, because God knows I would have wanted to stay there, even if it killed me, literally, not literally, but if it killed me, like figuratively. As I think He kind of like protected me from that situation by removing it. And in such a way that I didn't even have to go to the hospital for evacuation. He cleared everything straight from my system. So I was grateful to God for that. This is not saying my partner was a monster or anything. It's just we were not aligned in a lot of ways. And he's a good guy. Um, we're cordial. We don't keep in touch, but we're cordial. If something comes up and we need to speak, we can. Um, but we're not just aligned in a lot of ways, and I didn't feel he was very considerate towards me specifically. So yeah, that's pretty much my miscarriage story. Um, it's funny when people come out to share things like this. Some people's instinct first is to shame you. I don't know what there is to shame someone about in this situation, but if you feel the need be, that's fine. But one thing I know about me is that I only share things publicly from a very healed place. When I've sorted through whatever it is, I've gone through whatever it is, and I'm fine and I'm great. And I also actually, even when I'm fine and I'm great and I've moved on, I also wait a bit more before I actually share. And for me, sharing is almost like sealing and completely closing that door to that traumatic or whatever event. You know, I'm a very vulnerable person. I feel there's strength in being vulnerable. People might look at it as the weakness, but I feel there's strength in being vulnerable. And so once I share it, it's like once I've said it publicly, I don't know if it makes sense, but somehow it's like I've closed that door finally, and I know I finally shut it and moved on. Even though Like I've been fine for a while. I've been happy. I've been happy for a while. Been great and joyous. Like I actually moved on very quickly from this situation. I'm that kind of person. I move on quickly. That's what I learned. So I'm not afraid of pain, hurt, disappointment. But one thing I learned is to move on quickly. I don't dwell on the negative. I move on, continue being happy, continue being joyous. I don't dwell. I'll feel my feelings in that moment, go through what I need to go through, cry all the crying I need to cry, but I move on really fast. So no matter how people, no matter once I share something, no one can actually shame me, use it to shame me because I shared it. You didn't find it out from some secret or some funny way. I came out to say it by myself. So you can attempt to shame me, but I will never feel shame. I will never feel shame for something I've come to share myself. So you can try, you can say all the things in the world, everybody's gonna have an opinion, but it doesn't matter to me, because I'm comfortable in my skin, I'm comfortable with my truth, I'm comfortable with whatever I'm sharing. So whatever opinion everyone has, that's fine. Life will go on. It doesn't affect me anymore. I will never share something that I'm still hurting from, that is still hurting me. I will never come out and share that publicly because that's when it could get to me if someone tries to use it against me. But once you see me coming out to publicly share something, and funny enough, I had already posted it on my stories maybe like 2 months after it happened, saying, "Oh, miscarriage, my tummy is still whatever," like a month after, just to show you how fast I moved on from it. I was already talking about it so freely on my Instagram stories. Some people were surprised, like, "How are you just talking about this?" Like, some people didn't catch on because I noticed some people don't listen to what I'm saying on my stories, but some people actually listened and was like, "How are you sharing this? Like, how are you sharing this so quickly? Like, you just went like I was literally showing people my tummy and being like, oh, I still have a lot of fat to lose, it's flabby and whatever." And I mentioned the miscarriage, and a few people messaged me. I was like, what? Why are you talking about this? Oh, you need to go for an evacuation, blah blah blah. I was like, oh no, everything's fine. Um, but yeah, I had moved on. Oh no, the people are commenting. I can see comments. Some people are messaging me, but I can see comments. So I'm very like at that point. Once I've started talking about it, like it's nothing. I'm good. I moved on. So you really can't use it against me. There's an app that shall not be named that I heard some people have already gone to discuss this from my video that I posted on Instagram, and it's fine, guys. I'm fine. There's no need for love and I appreciate the love and light messages, but like it's long gone. Like I'm great. But I do understand how some people are different. Some people it takes them years or they never get over it, right? Especially for people who are actively trying to conceive or trying to get pregnant. I guess it's a bit different for me because I wasn't trying. It was just something that happened even when I was actively not trying to conceive because, like I said, I was on contraception. So it's different for some people who are, and my heart goes out to those who have tried. My sister went through it a couple of times. Sorry, sis, I don't know if I'm supposed to share that. So I know how heartbroken I felt when she went through it. Like I'm not even the one that went through it, but I felt her pain. She has 3 boys now. Sorry, sis, I'm so sorry. I don't know, but she has 3 boys now, so long gone. Um, and So I get it. I get how it can be really hard for some people and they never move on from it. But, I'm grateful to God for giving me that kind of spirit, that kind of strength, that to be able to just move on from things so quickly. I just thank God. Thanks, Seth. Exactly. That's me. I always find the positive in a situation. So I like try to learn from any situation I find myself in, and I try to grow from any situation I find myself in. So yeah, I'm not trying to diminish anybody's feelings that has gone through this. If you're still grieving, if you're still going through it, you're not alone. I don't know if you believe in God, but God's got you. And if you're still waiting or hoping to have a baby or get pregnant again, my heart goes out to you, and I hope that you get what you really desire. But yeah, I just felt like sharing, just because I can. That's it, really, because I can. Because, like I said, there's strength in vulnerability, and that's just my MO. I share, and from my sharing and being me and being vulnerable, a lot of people have said they're inspired or it has made an impact on them, and so I'll keep sharing because I know when people share too, how it's inspired me and how it's made an impact in my life when people are vulnerable towards me or on the internet in certain topics. So yeah, that's pretty much why I just came to share. I wasn't coming to share because I wanted pity or sympathy. Like I don't need any of that because, like I said, fully healed, fully great, in a good place. But not to carry on. I didn't want this live to be more than 30 minutes. Um, I don't know if there's anything I'm missing, but I think I've covered everything. Turned out grateful for God for protecting me from a situation that probably wouldn't have been the best for me. Protecting my family, my son, my mom, everybody moved on. My son is actually very strong. I want to give myself kudos to that because he really wanted that sibling. Um, he felt bad when I told him it's gone, but he was supporting me and he was like, we talk. So I talked to him like an adult, and I spoke to him very sincerely about what was going on and everything. And then he was like, "It's okay, it's okay." You know, he's still hopeful that maybe one day, but I've told him that maybe it might not happen. But if anything, maybe I might adopt. He's like, okay, he's very understanding, he's very strong, and he also has moved on from it. Like, obviously, he's a kid, they're very fast to heal for things like this. Um, but he was very supportive, very encouraging, and having him really just makes everything better in life. So grateful, so blessed to have him, so blessed to be his mom, so blessed to have my mom with me. I have like the greatest support system. My sisters are not with me, but we're always like, I always message them everything. They know everything that goes on. We have a group chat, my mom and my sisters. They know everything, and I've just had that personality where I don't do things that I'll ever be ashamed to speak about. If I feel like there's something I would do that I could never tell anybody about, I won't do it. I won't. It's not like I tell everybody everything I do, but I just want to feel comfort in the situation, knowing that if at all something happens and I need to speak on stuff, I can always speak on it without feeling shame because I'm not ashamed of anything that I've been through or anything I've done. Everything I do, decisions I make, especially with my full chest, everything I've gone through with my full chest, and I can always speak on it because no shame. Ain't no shame in my game. We don't know that about here. We don't know about shame here. My mom is the biggest person I respect. She knows pretty much everything about me. Obviously, there's some things I haven't told her. There's details you don't tell, but if I needed to tell her, I can. There's nothing I've done that is so shameful that I cannot speak to my mother about, even in detail. Nothing. Nothing, honestly. It's just that you just save her the details of some things, but there's nothing I can't speak to her about if push comes to shove, and that's why I can never be blackmailed. I can never be blackmailed. But yeah, getting to 30 minutes. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for your support. Thank you for all the positive messages. Um, bye guys. Bye. Thank you. This is very hard to do. I'm become camera shy all of a sudden, but okay, bye.